Today, we're comparing two Kindles from different generations, the Kindle Oasis and the 7th generation Kindle Paperwhite. Side by side, you can tell right away these are different takes on the same idea. One feels luxurious, ergonomic, thoughtfully designed. The other, simple, practical, and quietly reliable. The Oasis stands out with its asymmetrical shape. A wider grip on one side makes it easier to hold in one hand. It's made of aluminum, which feels cold to the touch at first, but it's a welcome shift from the softer matte plastic of the Paperwhite. The physical page turn buttons also make for a more tactile reading experience. When placed on top of each other, the Oasis is slightly larger, housing that 7-inch display compared to the Paperwhite's 6-inch screen. Both use micro USB for charging, and while that might feel outdated in 2025, especially when newer Kindles are shifting to USB-C, but they get the job done. Powering them on, both are fairly quick to respond, and when I opened the same book on each, they loaded almost instantly. The Oasis is just a bit snappier, not a massive gap, but noticeable if you're used to newer devices. This is likely thanks to a newer processor in the Oasis, part of the 10th Gen series, while the Paperwhite here is from 2015, part of the 7th generation. That age difference definitely plays into the performance. When it comes to reading, both devices offer a crisp, clear screen with 300 ppi, text looks sharp on both, and the glare-free e-ink carded display means you can comfortably read outside, even in direct sunlight. Brightness is set to 15 on both devices for a fair comparison. One big difference: the Paperwhite only has brightness adjustment, while the Oasis has both brightness and warmth settings, the latter giving a more amber-toned light that's easier on the eyes at night. There's more to comfort than just resolution. The Oasis lets you control not only brightness, but also warmth. That warm amber tone you can add to the screen? It's subtle, but it makes a big difference at night. You can ease into a book without harsh white light beaming into your eyes. The Paperwhite 7th Gen, on the other hand, only allows for brightness adjustment. And while that was perfectly fine years ago, it feels limited now, especially when you've experienced the warmth controls. To be fair, newer Paperwhites, especially from 2021 onward, now include warmth settings too. But this older model does not. Looking closely at both screens, the Oasis clearly displays more text per page. That's thanks to its 7-inch screen versus the 6-inch one on the Paperwhite. The larger display lets the text breathe a bit more, making better use of the space. If you're reading long chapters or simply prefer fewer page turns, the larger display becomes a real benefit. And while both have the same pixel density, the way the Oasis handles light is different. It has 25 front LEDs compared to just 4 on the older Paperwhite. That means the lighting is not only brighter when needed, but more evenly spread across the display. One of my favorite features of the Oasis has to be the physical page turn buttons. It lets you rest your thumb on the edge, click once, and keep going. No finger repositioning, no mistaps. It's subtle, but after using it for a while, you start to miss it when it's not there. Now, let's talk battery. The Paperwhite, which I haven't touched in about 4 to 5 weeks, still holds a 74% charge. That's impressive. The Oasis, which I've been using for 1 to 2 hours daily over the last week or so, is down to 58%. On paper, both promise weeks of usage, but the reality is that the Oasis burns through battery a bit faster. It's worth keeping in mind if battery life is a top priority. Both devices allow for font customization, sizes, spacing, styles, and that's become standard across the Kindle lineup. But the Oasis gives you more space to play. If you like slightly larger fonts or wider spacing, you won't sacrifice as much visible text on the Oasis. The Paperwhite is still perfectly readable, and the text is just as crisp, but the experience on the Oasis feels more comfortable and immersive. I then explore the Kindle store. Both devices navigate the store reasonably well. Scrolling and page loading were slightly faster on the Oasis. That speed boost is subtle, but when browsing through titles or checking reviews, the smoother experience adds up. Interestingly, the page turn buttons don't work while navigating the store, though that could be a setting to toggle. Going into a specific book allows us to see how well the devices handle the store and its different attributes. As you can see, both seem to handle loading the pages with ease. The Kindle Oasis seems to be more easier to navigate due to the size of the screen, but both devices seem to handle loading the pages to read customer reviews and other book information relatively well. Next, I set both devices to 100% brightness. On the Oasis, I turned the warmth off completely to get a neutral, bright comparison. Side by side, you can see the difference in display quality. The Oasis appears slightly brighter and more evenly lit, especially at the edges. That's the benefit of those extra front lights. Then I downloaded The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes on both. The Oasis was quicker to finish and open the book. That extra processing power pays off. The older Paperwhite takes a bit longer, but still works well overall. It's worth mentioning that newer Paperwhite models are much faster than the 7th gen I'm testing here, but the Oasis still pulls ahead in this test. After that, I adjusted the Oasis back to my preferred settings, brightness at 14, warmth at 14. This gives the screen that soft amber hue that's easier on the eyes in the evenings. Comparing the two again, you really get a sense of how much the warmth setting enhances the comfort level. I flipped through pages again, explored the zoom-out view, navigated menus. Both are capable, but the Oasis feels more refined, more thought out, like a device designed for people who read a lot and want the experience to be as enjoyable as possible. Returning to the home screens and closing both Kindles, I reflected on the experience. The 7th gen Paperwhite still holds up surprisingly well. It's reliable, lightweight, and the battery life is almost unmatched. If you want a basic, effective e-reader that gets the job done, it's a solid choice. But for me, the Oasis offers more than just function. It feels like a luxury, and not the flashy kind. A quiet, purposeful luxury. From the build quality to the screen comfort to the page turn buttons, it feels like a Kindle that was made for someone who truly enjoys reading. It's a shame Amazon discontinued the Oasis. But if you can find one refurbished or secondhand at a good price, I think it's worth picking up, especially if you're like me and value physical buttons and screen warmth. The Paperwhite is still great, and if newer versions ever include buttons again, I'd seriously consider them. But for now, the Oasis remains my top choice. It's been a worthwhile upgrade from the 7th gen Paperwhite. The larger screen makes reading more immersive. The physical buttons make it more comfortable. The only real downside: battery life. You'll probably charge it every couple of weeks with regular use. But that's a trade-off I'm happy to make for a better reading experience. Whichever one you choose, the most important thing is that you keep reading. I hope this gave you some helpful insight. Thanks for watching.